when you look at AI's role in mediation, what it does, it will be able to process your data faster, right? So efficiency will increase. It will be able to give you certain data sets which are on the similar situation. But saying that, I don't think any artificial intelligence can replace human intelligence, because AI dataset typically how it works, it is on the information that you feed in, right? So if the information per se is biased, right? So it will be not be able to give you accurate, because if the sense of judgment is to be applied by a human mind. So it is a tool which can help you increase the efficiency. It can give you disputes in a quicker time, but I don't think more than that is there.
Okay, ma'am. So basically, in this world, we would let us control the devices rather than devices controlling us. Right.
Ideally, be that, but the thing is that we are living our footprints everywhere. So digital footprints. So if you are not aware about how to use the technology in your favor, right? If you don't understand how to use it, then it will be your master. I'll give you a very simple example. Like each one of us use Google, right? Gmail. So by default, all the settings are there to track you are on. So if you are aware person, you know you to turn it off. You have to turn off your Google Maps. You have to turn off your photo sharing. You have to turn off your data sharing. So it is up to you how to harness the power of technology.
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, so here you would conclude that still human mind could not be replaced by the technology that is upcoming. Okay.
Yeah.
Ma'am. Again, the question is as follow-up for this question that I asked you, that what are your thoughts on replacing mediators with AI? Or we can say that AI would mediate better than humans, like...
Again, the same answer. See, mediation per se is very different when you go for arbitration or any other form of dispute resolution, whether it is litigation or it is arbitration, right? As you said, it is samjhota, right? It is the way to mediate, way to communicate. So AI can be very helpful as far as, again, I'll say the crunching the data, giving you different options, right? If this is not there, then this can be the possible solution, right? So that way it can be very helpful, but ultimately you have to use your mind. So other day, some friend of mine had shared a picture of the prompt that she gave. The prompt was Mother Teresa fighting poverty. And the picture that came was that Mother Teresa standing like a warrior, and there were poor kids who were standing, and she is doing judo karate with them. Now that does not mean how Mother Teresa is helping remove poverty. What it was depicting was, it is she is fighting the young kids and just doing this judo karate kind of a thing to remove them from the face of earth. But the reality is very different, right? Reality, she is helping the poor to so how do you use it? It cannot be applied. Also, there was, everywhere we have got cameras. So there was this lady, you might have read it. She got a challan of 1 lakh rupees.
1 lakh rupees.
Yeah, because she was, all the more cameras were taking. Now a human mind will apply कि एक violation हुआ, अगर वो एक road पे जा रही है, there can be 4 or 5 cameras. So you cannot charge her. She has no turn to U-turn.
Right? Okay, ma'am. Thank you. So moving on to the next question, that is somewhat related to what you gave us example about, like the pictures which were interpreted wrong, something like that. So we would talk about deep fakes here. So like as there is a rise in deep fake cases in India during elections or as in general world as well, what is your take on the need of AI regulation in India? Like what do you think about that?
AI regulations are very important, right? Today, even your internet regulation, whether you have IT Act and everything, still it is not able to regulate the things, right? And even if there are Supreme Court judgments, still they are not following up. Like people are still getting booked under Section 66A, though they have said that it is not a section under which people can be booked. So deep fakes has got a real big problem, because there are cases, forget about the big things like election and everything. Tomorrow somebody can just call you faking your mom's voice and saying that I am in trouble, you come. or somebody calling me, your child is in trouble, you come. So I would leave everything, and that person might harm me in some way or other. So deep fakes is a problem, and it is a menace. And we definitely need AI regulation. So EU has come out with a set of regulation on AI. But again, we have to see how far they will be. So European Union has already come out with a set of regulation.
Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, next question, which I would move on further, is like, please, if you could deliberate upon the role of mediation in public policy.
So for the AI role in public policy, because your voice was breaking, so I gathered you're asking about role of AI in public policy, right?
The role of mediation in public policy.
Role of mediation in public policy, see, it is very important. See, if you have to work as a civilized society, the idea is to build consensus around it, right? So if you need for public policy, mediation is something very important. So even if you look for the legislative drafting and everything that comes, they ask for people to submit their opinion, what they feel about it, right? And in fact, I was very pleasantly surprised to read this book by Ornat Sheni, and where he said that even when the constitution was drafted during the constituent assembly, we always thought it is a very elitist constitution where these 300 odd people were sitting and they were deciding our future. But whatever the correspondence was there, they were receiving inputs from Aam Janta, as we say, the citizens of this nation, and it was voluminous correspondence that was going. So as far as mediation is concerned, even traditionally as a society, Indian society is one which has always tried to build consensus. So even when you go and look abroad, even the United Nations has deployed AI in mediation when it wanted to, like in the Libya and etc. Libya, there was this problem. So to sway the public policy to decide what is there, what should be the role. So they even use virtual reality for the mediators to imagine that this is a situation, right? So technology is a tool. Use it to get the best out of it. So even in the public space, for the mediation is a very good tool. But with this, I'll say it with a caveat, right? So as far as mediation is concerned, it is an art, right? It is art and science. But today, the way people are having mediators, they are without any effective training. They don't have a continuous training. As somebody who's practicing in Supreme Court and we have this dedicated mediation cell, I'm pretty disappointed with the quality of mediators that we are having. And I think the fault lies with us that they are not getting the proper training.
Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, even I experienced this like just a week before. We were asked to fill forms or what suggestions do we have for the upcoming government or what would you like. So they were basically filled by two parties. One was when I was in Telangana, it was by TRS, Telangana Rashtra Samiti. So I was really taken by that idea. So I think, yes, our voices are being heard and actually our opinions are being mattered here. Okay. Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, next we have like, what do you think about the idea that AI could replace humans? Where, if we talk about the sphere of mediation, can this happen in future? If yes, till how extent? If no, why not? Like, what are the strong opinions?
AI is a tool. You can use it to increase your efficiency. You can use it to crunch data for you, to give some input. So to give the output rather, right? But output will, for AI, it will always depend upon what input you have put in. So if the input itself is a bias, then the result will be full of bias. So you have to use your intelligence to depict whether it is correct or incorrect. Again, the same example I'll give you of Mother Teresa fighting poverty, that she is not doing judo karate with the kids to remove them, or she is not swallowing the sword to cut them off, but she is doing the constructive work to elevate the poverty, to empower them. So even as far as mediation is concerned, for any sort of adjudication, it cannot replace human intelligence.
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, what if like a very efficient human mind builds that AI accordingly in mediation? Can it still not like come to the point? Can it still not help us?
I don't know. This we have to wait and watch. And as far as these AI systems are concerned, right? They are like the way you exercise to build your muscles. These are just more and more they will understand you, right? So it is they adapt it, right? So they adapt to your use. So if I give some command to Chat GPT, over the period it will realize that this is my style of writing, right? So even today on Chat GPT, I can give them prompt to write with the Shashi Tharuran style, right? And it understand. But at the same time, the problem is the data from wherever it is picking, either it is own data set or some of them have become to actively search for Google, this internet search also. So again, it will be a problem, but again, it is a tool which you can exercise it to make it customizable to your taste.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, also an add-on, like how if we search about one thing on Google, it takes about 1 or let's say half an hour to search for a particular topic. We need to go through sources. But whereas if we do via ChatGPT, it brings us within a few minutes. So if we enhance better, efficient in AI and we get into mediation there, can it like save our time or would it be time less?
It can do so because you are then training on the particular data set that you are giving, right? So but Google, like for example, you are taking any search engine, it is indexing thousands and thousands of pages. But again, search that we generally do is we just put a term and press enter to search it or click on search. Now the problem is, like even for Google search, it depends on how you give a command. So if you put a dash or minus, so not to show the search result which features this term. So you can customize there also. But when you treat any data on a particular data set, it will be more efficient.
Right, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. So the next question we have is like how can the mediation be leveraged to promote cross-cultural understanding and conflict resolution? How
So
could
the
it solve conflict?
there AI is very helpful. And just the example that I gave you of Libya, and they use this VR technology. United Nations, they wanted to understand. See what happens when you are talking about these conflicts. You get these foreign observers to see. Now, if I get somebody to observe something, they might not be aware of my culture, right?
Mhm.
But when you are trying to create things like virtual reality, where you are showing them actually how it is there. So I remember there are various apps also, there are various meeting points. So traditionally, we are using Zoom, etc., but there is something called gather.town. So I remember during COVID years, so they made, you can recreate anything. Na? अगर हम बोर हो रहे हैं, we can go to beach. So it will show us sitting on a beach and having a discussion. So I remember for some of the colleges, they made entire campus for students to explore. But because it was COVID year, so you cannot go out and take out the thing. So they made everything there on that app or whatever you want to call it, because it has a website also. So like when my son went to Cambridge, he was at Trinity, so their college made it so they can know okay, this is an area where you have your college library. This is an area where you have a cafe.
Mhm.
This is where your great court is there. This is where if you have to go out, you have to take permission. This is the porter's lodge. So this is again, it is very important tool which you can harness to understand the conflict, right? So today, if I want to understand that what is a typical culture of a place, earlier people used to watch to understand what is there, but today you can create an example where you can yourself be a participant in that. So I think there it has a big role in understanding how to harness the cultural differences, how to adapt yourself. So maybe in some cultures it is rude to say no to food, right? That is somebody, yeah. But in other cultures, like if somebody doesn't serve you and you take another helping, it is considered bad manners. So this is a good place where the cultural differences can be understood.
Yeah. So I'm adding on, like if we take an example, like let's suppose if I purchase something from e-commerce, any of the websites, and I did not find that product to the point. Like it was not meeting my demands of quality that I expected. So people usually like we are allowed to file a case against the company of anything like fraud or something like that. They're not taking charges but not meeting our expectations. So for these very near cases, general people, when they're running to courts, so it's like they still get late decisions, they still get late answers, plus it increases the number of cases in India as well. So can AI help us in it? AI help us to reach out on the ground basis?
Exactly. So all, if you look at e-commerce rule, all of them, they need to compulsory have a grievance officer based in India. That is first aspect. And
Right,
even
ma'am.
if you purchase from a foreign website, they all have online dispute resolution mechanism. So ODR is very popular here in India. Also, it is gathering good space. So definitely AI can help in dispute resolution. It can enhance the quality, which is, I mean, it can analyze the quality which was promised. Suppose you have ordered for say a Gucci bag, but it turned out to be fake one. So you can use AI to actually scan the image and check it out whether it is the correct one or not. Now there are many of these things where you have this thing, your barcodes are there, right? So if you can always check it whether it is there. And in fact, it is used in the medicine. There is a concept of serialization. So it's like recently we have faced this issue that there were many cough syrups which were caused lot of harm and lot of deaths in the countries abroad also. So to know from which place it is coming, which batch it is coming, right? So instead of manually looking into it, there are companies which are offering this serialization thing. So they can immediately pinpoint from where it is coming. Likewise, for the apparels, for footwears and everything, they know that this is a fake or this is a genuine one. And this is the speed which they detect is in like fractions of seconds. If humanly we have to do, we will take weeks to do it. But they can identify it in seconds. So this is a good place where they should use this.
Right, ma'am. I'm adding on to that was a really a point to ponder upon. Even today, like if I take a photo of all the ingredients and thing which is kept with me, an object has, I can like very easily go to Chat GPT, post that photo and check which are not good for human things. So AI is really helpful in that. Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, moving on to further, we have a question, which is what are the implications of artificial intelligence and machine learning for the future of mediation?
So I think it will evolve. And as we are going towards NLPs, your neural language programs, and as and when we use it more and more, as and when we can develop data with less and less biases, it will become a important tool and probably an indispensable tool for the future. And it can have a repository of what happened in the similar case decision. So it can even benchmark the situations that these are the things which you have to take care of.
Yes, ma'am. Right. So, ma'am, next question we have is a very unique question. That is, how do you see as the relationship between mediation and traditional legal systems that persist in India at this point of time?
Uh, Onam, though I have done some mediation courses, but as far as ADR seen in India currently is concerned, I will not shy to say that I am disappointed. We have seen cases of arbitration where the decision of arbitration is challenged by another one party or the other party. It goes to High Court, then from High Court to Supreme Court, Supreme Court, it passes a decision, then review is there, then suddenly after a few years you have a curative. So decision which award which is to be implemented within in 6 months or so, even after a good 15 years, it is not being implemented. So as far as the ADR mechanism is concerned, you need to have to give it a quietus, to give it a settling down that this is what it has been done and it should be settled. Now, saying that these are few odd cases where the dispute had reached to this level that it has to be opened. But most of the cases, people, they try to settle the dispute and move forward. But even for the mediation, as I told you, and even for the arbitration, you need to have people having a dedicated, must know what are the best tools available, how they can garner the facility which is provided by the various tools, including AI, machine learning, and everything, and how to adopt and adapt and adopt to your own system of working. So today, what I feel is people need to really think, the people who are providing solution, that it should be efficient. It should not be कि मेरी आज एक setting fees के 50,000 रुपए मिल रहे हैं तो मैं उसकी 4 sitting कर लूं. If you are going with that approach, it is wrong. Right? So the answer lies in that you should have a competitive pricing, also the fee structure and everything. And idea is to have it settled. So recently in Supreme Court, they have tried to implement it that for every mediation you don't get paid until and unless for every 2 unsuccessful mediation you have, you need to have 2 successful mediation, only then your bills will get cleared. Otherwise, you just keep on giving them date, your sitting charges, your fee for that particular time is coming. But again, I will emphasize that you need very, very serious training for mediation.
Right, ma'am. So, ma'am, stepping out of the agenda or the sphere of AI, we would like now to deliberately talk about mediation only, which is a question that is how mediation could be used as a tool promoting sustainable development or promoting social justice.
So, as far as mediation is concerned, it is a good tool. See, even otherwise, even if you look at our legal system, right, we do have a concept of Nyaya Panchayat, we have
Right.
concept of Gram Nyayalaya, we the schools, law colleges, we have pro bono clubs where you can help the people, right? The law students can talk about, we have these lok adalats, permanent lok adalats are there, where you can settle the dispute. See, generally speaking, until and unless it is personal issues like your, for example, say a property dispute in a family, right? People would like to settle it down. Suppose there is a dispute with your, say, electricity bill. Utilities are coming under permanent, this thing, your permanent lok adalat. So people generally tend to settle the dispute, but the only thing is that they should get a fair deal. So, as far as for social justice, etc., it is concerned, mediation is something which should be promoted extensively and actively. This is what I will say.
Right, ma'am. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So, ma'am, one more question, that is, like, how do we give it access to the marginalized committees? How do we make the mediation thing reach to them, the marginalized sections?
So actually, like I know about Sama, you might have also heard about it. So they are also doing this thing for the small businessmen. 10,000 का claim है, उसमें कोर्ट में भी वो क्या जाएगा कि मेरे को कपड़े अपने खराब भेज दिए थे, मेरे को sell करना था, right? So they do it, and these are B2B transactions. For that, they engage this platform. They have built a technological platform. See, idea is, see, if you look at our country uniquely, I think more than any other country in the world, this population of this country has got smartphones, right? And whatever you do, you have to harness the power of technology. You have got more access to internet connection at affordable price than any other country in the world, right? So if you look at after the Geo has come, it has actually been a game changer. Everybody is getting 2 GB of data. So what is required to get marginalized community to know about is to get an app kind of a thing where they can just put their dispute in the language which is understandable to them, right? So if somebody is in Bihar, or somebody is even in Delhi or Bombay and he does not understand the language I am talking to, so you can harness the power of AI to translate it into any language. Today I can just type anything. So I use this Microsoft Swift keyboard. I can write in any language. It will just type. I will be typing in English and it will be translating it into any language. So, right. So you have to use that power to help people, and it is very doable thing, right? So if you look at it, is just like you have to do Uberization or Olaization of this mediation also. So essentially, for me, the solution lies in making app and making it very easy to use. It should not be complicated. So if you see some of the government websites which they have an app, so it is actually little cumbersome to use. It should be very simple interface. Just put in the data, it gets in whatever language you want to speak. It should be able to translate and get it done.
Right. So, ma'am, like, what do you think are the ethical consideration that mediators should keep in mind? As you already told, till when it is AI, it is only like good and efficient in some parts, like let's suppose cultural thing or maybe on an individual basis. So, how and what should a person consider? The mediators should consider while they're using AI technology in mediation. What are the ethical considerations?
So as far as the ethical consideration are there, so you have to actually assess actively the fact situation which is before you. Suppose there is a case of claim coming before a mediator and which says that if a family of four is there, I will be in a matrimonial dispute. I will be giving that person, that husband has to give wife, like say 50,000 rupees out of 2 lakh rupees. But if the fact comes that it is a family of four and husband has recently been chopped down and wife is earning say 5 lakh rupees a month, then it should be able to make a distinction that she should not be getting any amount at that point of her time. So these are type of the things how you can use it, and this is a very small example I gave you. Today we have started using mediation will be coming to be used in the insolvency and bankruptcy space also, where your claims runs into crores of rupees, right? How do you do equitable distribution of wealth, right? Or to the money that is to be paid to the creditor. So these are the things that mediator has to be very mindful of.
Yes, ma'am. Right. So, ma'am, as we have already talked about how AI can be used in certain sections, it could be helpful for us, and the audience have listened to you very patiently. And your rich words about how human power still exists more than what we've built off. So, now there is a question to the audience that, as we've already talked about ODR, that is uh, online dispute resolution. So it is a question that what are the challenges and barriers to the widespread adoption of ODR in India? Anyone who likes to answer, it is open for all the audience here. We would love to hear your ideas that you would suggest about this question. Okay, so ma'am, we'll continue the question on you. We would like to hear this from you as well. Like,
Somebody has raised his hand. I think Gotham is.
yes, you can go on speaking if you want to.
Okay, am I audible?
Yeah, yeah.
Go on.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Actually, it was an enriching session. It's really nice to hear you, and the thoughts were really intriguing, actually. And like in the question regarding ODR and India and its practicality, like for me, I still believe like there are some parts of India like they still don't consider the value of ADR. And secondly, like it's the practical aspects is like it's not possible yet because the awareness concept, like most of the people in India don't have internet, don't have a good connection. Like, how are we going to start ODR into the common people if they don't have the possible infrastructure to continue? Like, that's the very common basics. Like, if you only when you have something to work on, if you have vegetable to cook, then you can make some dish. Like, without the basic infrastructure, how are we going to work? So, the practical aspect itself, the basic challenge will be the part of infrastructure. Then, secondly, I would say like ma'am has reiterated, like we don't have that much of trained mediators. Like, what if we took two people and they're having this dispute and we had this mediation? They're just only trained for 1 or 2 sessions. because like it's a very common thing, like mediation training program. Everybody is doing nowadays. It's the trend. So I would say like if I attended a training session 40 hours, I got certified. Now I'm a certified mediator. I can practice. So what if we took the dispute and we made it something else? Like if it is not in a capable hands, like we are making it worse. So there is one more question of capable mediators. Like that's the two main concepts. That's the problem of ODR. Because in an online session, it's very difficult. Because to maintain a confidentiality, you have to maintain a lot of things. Like if international ODR platform, they have this 360-degree camera to ensure that no one is in the room. It's only them. And even if there is any transcript, they can take it out. Because I will give an example like the platform we are using. There is a small option called AI companion and summary in the platform that we are using right now. So it's very easy to take that confidentiality part out of the session, thus breaking the whole essence of mediation. These are the main things that we have to ponder. Rest, I would like to hear from ma'am itself, like what are the more thoughts that we can work on.
So,
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
so the problem is that you have to make things accessible, which for the consumer to use, right? And second thing that you have to use is you have to have certain tools on which you are actually getting trained. See, the mediation training, the way it is going, it is not at all exhaustive in India. I can say you have to do 40 hours or 45 hours mediation training. If you go to countries like US, they take it very seriously. There is a university, I think it's Setson or somewhere, where they actually train you for mediation.
Mediation, yes, ma'am.
Mediation can be effective only when you can use it effectively. Mediation is also psychology. You have to break the impasse that comes, right? So if suppose a person says that you have to give him 10 crore rupees, person मैं नहीं दे सकता, then as a mediator you have a right to suggest कि ठीक है आप कोई बात नहीं 2-2 crore करके 5 installments में दे. So you need to have understand the psychology of a person. You need to empathize with the person. That is why I said that apart from the biases and everything, until and unless you build emotions, right, how a person will be thinking, till you put the person, you yourself in the shoe of the person कि अगर मैं इसकी जगह होता तो मैं क्या करता. So until and unless you develop that, it will we will not be able to reach. And continuous training is something which I think is required for everything.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Gautam, for your answer. We know we have a really good audience sitting here who are actually listening. Thanks for listening. And also, ma'am, like I would add on, like a very beautiful statement that you stated, that mediation is also psychology, because
Right.
everything in world is not white and black. There something lies gray in between, which are words said by Robert F. LRD. So I also live by that. And actually, mediation requires all human efforts to come to a ground basis, settle disputes. So yes, ma'am, agreed. Ma'am, also an add-on, like how would you suggest, or what would you suggest, how to build up a career in mediation or arbitration? Anything that you would like to
So
suggest?
for, yeah, somebody wants to say something. Anybody? To build your career in mediation and arbitration, see, one thing is you try to become members of these various societies, and for students, there are many organizations which are giving free memberships, right? Take them, attend their webinars. If you can attend in person, that is even better, because when you network, you make connection, and that is how works get referred, right? So I understand there are students here, so I am giving them this advice that it is very important to show up. It is very important to reach out to people. You never know who is going to help you out, right? And for mediation and arbitration, I can say that you must continuously be updated about the latest decisions that are there. You read about the basic law, and I think the one way to start, what I suggest, is just read the Bare Act to get an idea. So generally, we start reading the commentaries or judgments on everything, And if you want to go in this field of ADR, so you have to make a very conscious effort to be seen in those circles.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, we have a very informative questions from the audience that they would like to listen from you. Which is first we have by Chetanshi Gupta, which is she has highlighted a few points like lack of awareness, communication gaps as pointed by ma'am, and lack of trust. So, ma'am, how do we overcome it?
See, lack of trust, see, mediation is never one step. So idea is to build up the confidence, right? So I had gone with the mediator with one very retired, very senior and retired judge of a high court, and where he made the parties comfortable, where he understand and where he told his role also, right? This is the another mediation for which I took the parties, and the lawyer who was mediating, his opinion was, देखो आप इतना ले लो वरना आपको उससे भी ज्यादा कुछ नहीं मिलेगा. So how you build, how you talk, how you communicate, what is your body language, how do you control the party? So this is all part of training. How is your dispensation? How do you sit? Body language plays a very, very important part in mediation in particular. अगर आप हाथ ऐसे करके बैठो, दोनों हाथ क्रॉस करके, it is a defensive pose, right? You are not in mood to settlement. You are just using it just a trick. So it has got lot of, as I told you, lot of psychology. It is involved in understanding and going through mediation, right? Your body language plays a very, very important role in understanding it. And this thing, they come with only with years of practice or understanding or working with someone who has actually done these things. So that is my take. I don't think if I have missed any part of the question, just let me know.
No, ma'am, you've covered all of it. The communication, lack of awareness, the lack of trust. We are done with the parts. Ma'am, there is one personal question that I wanted to ask you about being a law aspirant. So, like I've researched a bit about how whether we should increase the ages of judges in India, because in other countries, if we see, they've got till 70, 75, sorry, 75. So in India, we've got a lot of pending cases or transfer of judges or instability, which results in late decision coming or something like that. So what do you have to say on your personal basis? First, the segment, if we talk about a law is like a very experienced field where as you grow in it, you get a better decision made. That is how India works on. But whereas if we see the youth, the ones who are constantly in the lines on the roadmap to be a judge, to be a successful lawyer. So, ma'am, is it really good to increase the age, or should they like decrease it, or maybe more vacancies? What do you have to say about it, ma'am?
Yeah, I am not in a big favor of increasing the age of judges. I think 55 is, they are quite young, they are capable of doing, but increasing the age is not a solution, because you have to look at the food chain also. You have to look at the people who are still waiting to get a field. So even if you look at typically, there you will find that there are 5 or 6 super seniors. Then they have a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 level of seniors. Then you have got advocates on record, other lawyers and things like that, depending upon how do you want to go about. So idea is, and even for the number of judges, increasing vacancy is fine. But in my opinion, what is more critical is docket management, right? So one thing that has been done good, at least I can speak about Supreme Court, is with the digitization. पहले क्या होता था कि मेरा तो वो पेज ही नहीं मिल रहा है, जज एंड यू आर ऑन अ डिफरेंट पेज, जज इज सेइंग पेज 67, मेरा होता वो पेज 65. So there was this irritation ki what is this? Now you are on the same PDF. So that is one thing that has drastically cut out the thing. Again, with the technology investment, so you can see what was the order passed in the previous matters. Then you can know कि अच्छा आपने 4 बार adjournment लिया है, मैं आज आपको adjournment नहीं दे रही. In Supreme Court, we have this concept of office report, which gives the detail कि क्या हुआ था पहले matter में, if the parties have complied with the directions or not. So increasing the age of judges is, according to me, no solution. But teaching them how to manage their docket is the key, and the same applies to lawyers also.
Right.
Right, so I have seen in Supreme Court you mention a matter कि हमारा matter नहीं लग रहा आप लगाओ, और जिस दिन matter लगा उस दिन adjournment लेके चले गए. So you wasted court's time when you mentioned that matter. You wasted the registrar's time who looked into the matter. You wasted the other counsel's time who read the matter, prepared and came to the matter. You wasted client's money for that particular date if it's on a per day per hearing basis. So these are the things which should be done very drastically. Like in Supreme Court for the constitutional matters, now we have got the concept of nodal counsels. So like even in the 9 judges bench, there are various volumes are there, and it is the duty of lawyers on the both sides to correlate the topic, and everything is available to everyone at the same pace, and it is nothing that matter is hidden. So I don't think increasing the age of judges is anything. And they are also very happy that once they retire, they get very hefty arbitrations. Much paying than what they are getting.
Right, yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. The way you answered all our questions, the questions from audience, my personal question as well, has really inspired us. And even me being a law aspirant, I have also gained more confidence in this field, and I look forward to all your points that you've stated. And there are some of the good key points that I've taken away from this session, that yes, mediation is also a psychology. Mere than getting a task done, it is a human ethic as well. So on a formal notice, I would like to thank all the audience and Legalify India, Just Corpus Law, and also ma'am to spend with us and to us with this knowledge. We're truly honored to have you here, ma'am. Thank you so much. And we look forward to again more sessions with you.
Looking forward to have more interactions with you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sanatha.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justice and Legalify. So we can end this meeting. I can leave.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.